Everyone, welcome to Vaishai's YouTube channel and to the episode 12 of Polity MCQ series, which are prelim specific in nature. So we have done 11 episodes before. If you have not seen them, go through the videos which are present in the playlist of Polity MCQs in Vaishai's YouTube channel and come back to this video. And if you are liking the videos, give your feedback in the comment section, like the video, subscribe to the channel for the more updates. Okay, if you want to join the test series, you can WhatsApp to the number which is mentioned on the screen, that is 7200681675. So you can inquire about the details of joining the test series through this WhatsApp number. You can contact through WhatsApp. Okay, let's start the video now. Question number 1. Which of the following are the conditions for acquiring Indian citizen? Option number A, domicile and descent. Option B, domicile and naturalization. Option C, domicile, registration and descent. Option D, domicile, descent, naturalization and registration. So all of them are the conditions favorable for acquiring the Indian citizen. So option is D, that is domicile, descent, naturalization and registration. So Indian citizen is acquired by birth, descent, registration and naturalization. The power to grant citizenship lies in the Home Ministry. Okay, remember the fact. The power to grant citizenship lies in the Home Ministry. So answer for the question number 1 is D. Okay. Question number 2. Consider the following statements. Statement number 1. The Constitution of India provided single citizen for the entire country. Statement number 2. Since 2003, dual citizenship is allowed by Indian law, that is called Overseas Citizens of India. Statement number 3. Those born in India on or after 26 January 1950 but before 1st July 1967 are citizens of India by birth, irrespective of the nationality of their parents. So we have to choose the correct statements above which are mentioned. So correct statements are both 1 and 2, and the third one is also partially correct, but there is a problem in the date it mentioned. So here it is not 1st July 1967. So option is 1 and 2 only, that is B is correct, and the actual number is a person born in India on or after 26 January 1950 but before 1st July 1987 is a citizen of India by birth, irrespective of the nationality of his parents. So in the question it is mentioned 1967, so that statement 3 is wrong because of the year it mentioned. Question number 3. Consider the following statements. Statement number 1. Originally, the Citizenship Act 1955 also provided for Commonwealth citizenship. Statement number 2. Provision for Commonwealth citizenship was repealed by the Citizenship Act, that is the Amendment Act of 2005. Which of the following statements are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. So here also there is a difference in the year it is mentioned. So statement 2 is partially correct, but the Amendment Act was in 2003, because of which statement 2 is wrong and statement 1 is correct. So 1 only is the answer for the question number 3. So this explanation is the Citizenship Act 1955 provided for the Commonwealth citizen, according to which every person who is a citizen of a Commonwealth country shall, by virtue of the citizenship, have a status of Commonwealth citizenship in India. But the provision was repealed by the Citizenship Amendment Act of 2003. So here it is mentioned 2005. Okay, because of which the statement is wrong. So only 1 is correct for question number 3. Question number 4. Consider the following statements. Statement number 1. Dual citizenship do not have voting rights. Second statement. Dual citizen did not require visa to travel to India. Statement number 3. Citizens with dual citizenship cannot be elected to public office, nor they eligible for the defense job. So 3 statements are correct. So answer is 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so persons registered as overseas citizens of India have not been given any voting rights. Election to Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, Legislative Assembly, Council, holding constitutional posts such as President, Vice President, Judge of Supreme Court, High Court, etc. So overseas citizenship of India and Indian origin just need OCI documents and will not require visa, but a passport will be mandatory. So in the statement 2, they do not require visa. So statement 2, 1 and 3 are also correct. So option D is correct for the question number 4. Question number 5. Consider the following statements with reference to Assam Accord. So it is a bilateral accord signed between the Government of India, State Government of Assam. It sets a cutoff of midnight 24th March 1971 for the detection of illegal foreigners in Assam. Which of the above statements is or are not correct? They are asking which of the statements are not correct. Okay, in this statement number 1, they have mentioned it is a bilateral trade accord. No, it is not a bilateral record. Actually, it was signed between Government of India, Government of Assam and the leaders of the Assam. So it is not a bilateral one, but 3 parties are involved in it. So statement number 1 is wrong and statement number 2 is obviously correct. So 1 only is the answer for the question, because they have asked which of the following are not correct statements. So 1 only is the answer for question number 5. So it was a tripartite accord signed between the Government of India, State Government of Assam and leaders of Assam. It was movement is in the year 1985. Question number 6. Consider the following statements with reference to Indian origin Tamils. Statement number 1. Indian origin Tamils were shipped to Sri Lanka in India in the mid 19th century to work on tea estates. Statement number 2. The Citizenship Amendment Bill in its current form does not provide for the possibility of Indian origin Tamil refugees living in India obtaining the citizenship. Which are the above statements is or are correct? So here both the statements are correct. Both 1 and 2 is correct for the question number 6. So option number C is correct for question number 6. Indian origin Tamils are the descendants of Tamil labourers who were brought to Sri Lanka from different parts of Tamil Nadu by the British to work in the plantations. They are mostly Hindus and belong to the most backward class and Dalit communities. Soon after independence, Sri Lanka rendered them stateless by enacting the Ceylon Citizenship Act of 1948 and the Indian and Pakistani Residence Act of 1949. Citizenship Amendment Bill 2019 in its current form does not provide for the possibility of Indian origin Tamil refugees living in India obtaining the citizenship. So option C is correct for question number 6. Question number 7. Consider the following statements. National Register of Indian Citizens is a register containing details of Indian citizens living in India. NPR, that is the National Register, Population Register, includes both the Indian citizens as well as the foreign citizens. Okay. Statement 2 is correct, statement 1 is wrong. So option B is correct, that is 2 only, because National Register of Indian Citizen is a register which is containing the details of Indian citizens living in India and outside India also. So statement number 1 can be eliminated and B is the answer for the question number 7. Question number 8. Consider the following statements with reference to Nehru-Likat Pact. With a bilateral treaty between India and Pakistan where refugees were allowed to return to dispose of their property, abducted women and looted property, the agreement was signed on 15th August 1949. So here in the statement number 2 it is mentioned it is 1949, but the year is 1950. So here you can see the importance of the important dates, okay, because dates are important in certain point of view. Not all the dates are important, but certain important dates are important. Okay, you can go through the previous year questions so that you can understand which can be important for the exam, which cannot be important for the exam. Okay, so here statement number 2 is eliminated, that is 15th August 1950 is actually correct. So they are asking which of the following is correct. So 1 only is the correct answer. So here you can see the Likat-Nehru Pact was a bilateral treaty between India and Pakistan where refugees were allowed to return to dispose of their property, abducted women and looted property were to be returned. Forced conversions were unrecognized and minority rights are confirmed. Officially, the agreement was actually signed on April 8, 1950. So only A or 1 only, that is option A is correct for question number 8. Last question of the day: which of the following statement is not true about the sixth schedule? It reveals two special provisions in the administration of certain northeastern states. It relates to special provisions in the administration of certain northeastern states. Entire state of Meghalaya is covered under the ILP regime, protected from CAB. Manipur is the newest state to be included in the ILP regime. So statement number C, or the option C, is not correct. So option C is the answer for question number 9, because Meghalaya actually have 3 ADCs. Okay. Unlike Assam, the ADCs in Meghalaya cover almost the entire state. Only a small part of Shillong is not covered. CAB will be effective in that part of Shillong too, while the rest of the state is protected. So ILP is nothing but inner line permit. It is a special permit. It has the citizens from other parts of the India are required to enter a state protected by the ILP regime. So other people should come inside the state through the ILP regime, that is inner line permit regime. Without an ILP granted by the state government, an Indian from another state cannot visit and stay, that is under the ILP regime. So this is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the MCQ series. Let's meet with another video in the next class. Until then, take care. Bye bye.